You spent 3 years creating something remarkable, a career admired by everyone, a life that finally made sense. You excelled at it, truly excelled. You had the systems, the skills, the respect, the morning routine that actually worked. Even the coffee from the office machine tasted just right. Then one day, you walked away from all of it. Not because it failed, not because something better appeared. You walked away because staying felt like suffocating. And here's what no one tells you. This wasn't the first time, and it won't be the last. You've done this before. Different castle, same cycle. You construct something detailed and complete, live inside it fully, then leave the entire world you created and start anew somewhere else. And the hardest part, you can't even explain why. Not to others, not even to yourself. If you're a deep intuitive, one of those introverted types like INFJ, INTJ, INFP, or INTP who navigate life through highly functional intuition, I'm about to name something you've experienced but never fully understood. In this video, I'll explain why you follow completely different life cycles than most people, what you're really building when you create these elaborate worlds, and why leaving them is not failure. It's your method for extracting wisdom directly from life itself. By the end, you'll stop asking what's wrong with me and start realizing who you really are. Let's begin. Let me outline your life, and you tell me if I'm off. You don't just change jobs. You change entire identities. You don't just pivot careers. You abandon complete worlds behind. The industry, the city, the friend group, the version of yourself that existed there. You've been the ambitious entrepreneur, then the artist, then the academic, then something entirely new. Each time, you didn't experiment. You went all in. You developed real expertise, formed genuine relationships, created real systems. And each time, after a few years, maybe 3, maybe 5, sometimes 7, occasionally less, rarely a bit more if you pushed it, you felt that familiar restlessness, that knowing, the sense that this castle, no matter how perfect, had taught you everything it could. So, you left again. And those around you couldn't understand. You were exceptional at it. You were nearly at the top. Why abandon all that? You tried to explain, but the words never fit, because deep down, you question them yourself. Maybe you're afraid of commitment. Maybe you're running from success. Maybe something is wrong with you. Here's what makes this pattern so hard. You're not flaky. You're not lazy. You're not afraid of hard work. When you build with precision. You learn every detail. You master your craft. You create something others would spend a lifetime proud to develop. That's why leaving is so confusing. You're not leaving because of failure. You're leaving because you succeeded. You extracted what you came for. But society lacks a term for this. So you get labeled inconsistent, uncommitted, incapable of finishing what you start. And worst of all, you begin to believe it. You watch peers from other personality types settle into their one castle, one career, one identity, their life structure, and stay there for decades. They appear content, stable, successful in ways you can't seem to replicate. And you wonder, why can't I just be normal? Why can't I pick something and remain? Here's what no one told you. You operate on a completely different time scale. Developmental psychologists like Erik Erikson and Daniel Levinson mapped human life into major cycles, roughly 20 to 25 years between major transitions triggered by existential crises. Early adulthood around 20, midlife around 40, retirement around 60, old age around 80. These are the typical rhythms of human development, but deep intuitives, you're not driven by existential crises. Something entirely different drives you, and understanding that changes everything. Your cycles are shorter, much shorter. 3 years, 5, 7, somewhere in between. The exact number varies, but the pattern is clear. Compressed time, accelerated growth. What takes most people a lifetime to build? One career, one identity, one complete structure. You build, inhabit, master, and move beyond multiple times. You're not broken. Not immature, not afraid of commitment. You operate on a completely different energy. And once you grasp why everything shifts. But first, let me show what you're truly building. Because it's not what you assume. Picture this. You're not constructing just anything. Some of you build temples, spaces of meaning, spiritual homes, philosophical systems. Others build castles, fortresses of knowledge, complex defense networks, intellectual empires. Each one complete, meticulously designed, fully lived in. These aren't sandcastles thrown together on a whim. They're real structures that people of other personality types might spend an entire life building, just one of. And they would be proud of that one castle forever. But you build yours, inhabit it fully, extract every lesson it has to teach, then leave. Not just the building. You leave the city, the region, the entire world that structure existed within. You take nothing but the map, the understanding, the wisdom, and go create something entirely new. Now, here's what you need to grasp. When you look back at what you abandoned, it seems like a sand castle washed away by the tide, temporary, already fading. But to everyone else around you, those who operate on 20-year cycles, what you walked away from wasn't a sandcastle at all. It was a real castle, a lifetime achievement, something they would have been proud to build even once. They see what you left behind and cannot comprehend it. They perceive waste, instability, failure to commit, but they misunderstand what you truly are. Because you are not the castle. You are not the temple. You are not even the architect who built them. You are the sea itself. Think about this carefully. Sensor types, they are their castles. They construct one magnificent structure and say, "This is me." Their identity, their worth, their legacy, it's all tied to that single building. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's beautiful in its own way. But you were never meant to dwell in a castle. You are the depths, the vastness, the ceaseless movement of the ocean. The castles and temples are merely what the waves form and dissolve as you move. They exist while they exist. They matter. They teach you about your own depths, but they were never meant to contain you. To ask you to stay in one castle forever is to ask the ocean to stop being the ocean. To ask you to stop exploring your own depths. To ask you to stop moving, stop growing, stop becoming. And that is not failure. That is not instability. That is your nature expressing itself. Now, I won't pretend this comes without pain. It does. People leave, relationships end, friends misunderstand, family worries. Society punishes you for not fitting into 20-year cycles. You are drained from building from scratch repeatedly. You grieve each world you leave behind, even though you know leaving was necessary. You experience loneliness in ways that are difficult to explain. I'm not dismissing any of that. The pain is real. The losses are real. But here's a reframe. The pain doesn't mean you're doing it wrong. It means you are paying the cost of being who you are. And who you are is profound. So what drives these cycles? It might be pattern hunger, your intuition consuming systems, extracting their essence, seeking new territory. It could be that you perceive the endpoint of each castle before others do, its limits, its borders. Once you've absorbed the pattern, staying becomes impossible. Or it may be something else entirely, something deeper. We're only beginning to understand. What matters is this: you are not driven by crisis. You are driven by appetite. Understanding what you are is one thing, but learning to live as the sea in a world built for castles, that's where it becomes practical. So if this is your nature, here's how to work with it instead of resisting it. First, build each castle fully. Don't half-build it because you know you'll leave. Half-built structures teach nothing. The sea doesn't abandon the shore before the wave completes its cycle. Go all in. Master the craft. Build something real and complete. That's how you extract wisdom. Second, carry the map, not the castle. Before leaving each cycle, document what you learned. What did this world teach you about yourself, others, reality? What patterns emerged? The map is what you carry forward. The map is your true treasure. Third, honor the void between castles. After you leave and before you build again, there's a wilderness period. Most find it frightening. You might too. But this void is where integration happens. This is where you become more of the ocean. Don't rush it. Fourth, stop apologizing for being the sea. Stop trying to explain yourself in castle dweller language. You're not uncommitted. You're not afraid of success. You're not running away. You are completing cycles of individuation that most people never even begin. Here's what no one tells you about this pattern. It's actually a competitive advantage. While others spend 20 years perfecting one domain, you master multiple fields. You see connections no one else sees. You bring insights from one castle into the next. Steve Jobs studied calligraphy before building technology. That combination shaped Apple's design philosophy. That kind of cross-pollination only happens when you are the sea moving between worlds. Your best work, your deepest insights come from moving across cycles. From standing in multiple castles, even after leaving them. You are not doing less than those who stay in one. You are doing 4 lifetimes in one. You achieve more psychological and spiritual growth than most in 80 years. One important nuance. There's a difference between healthy cyclical growth and compulsive avoidance. Some people use this pattern to escape intimacy, vulnerability, or being truly known. They restart whenever someone gets too close, whenever the work becomes too real. That is not being the sea. That is fear of the depths. Healthy cycles involve completion and extraction. You finish what you began. You integrate the lessons. You carry relationships forward in new forms. Unhealthy cycles involve burning bridges, running from consequences, avoiding the difficult growth that comes from staying present with challenges. Be honest with yourself. Are you completing cycles, or are you just running? Being the sea means diving deeper with each cycle, not just moving differently. If this video gave you a new perspective on yourself, hit that like button. It helps other deep intuitives discover this message. But there's one more thing you need to understand about what this pattern truly means for your legacy. Here's the key. While others leave behind castles, one magnificent structure bearing their name, you leave something rarer. You leave behind maps. You leave behind the pattern itself. You leave behind permission. Every time you consciously complete a cycle, you show other deep intuitives that this is possible, that they're not broken, that it's possible to live as the ocean in a world built for castle dwellers. Your legacy is not a single structure. Your legacy is depth movement, the courage to keep exploring when it would be easier to settle. That matters far more than you realize. So if this video named something you've experienced but never understood, hear this clearly. You are not the castle. You are the sea. Stop trying to be still. Stop trying to settle. Stop apologizing for your nature. Build your castles fully. Extract the wisdom. Keep the maps. And when it's time to move, and you'll know when it is, move. The ocean doesn't ask permission to be the ocean. Neither should you. If this resonates, know you're not alone. More of us navigate these cycles than you might think. If you're not already subscribed, subscribe now. This channel is for deep intuitives who refuse to apologize for being the sea. Share this with someone else who keeps starting over. They need to know they're not broken either. Leave a comment sharing which phase you're in right now. Building, inhabiting, leaving, or in the void. Let's create a community of people who understand. And if you want an even deeper dive, the full psychology, navigation strategies, how to manage relationships across cycles, check out the essay on my Substack. Link is in the description. The depth continues. Thank you for watching. See you in the next dimension.